All right.
You got dang right, all right. We the champs.
We are the champs. That's right, baby. We're coming down to the committee, and we're bringing a 13-0 record. And I'm telling you right now, you better watch out because we're bringing a fierce defense, led by Jared Verse and Brian Fiske. That's right. I pronounce the E in Fiske.
Braden Fiske.
It's Fiske, my boy.
Fiske.
I love that guy. He's my boy. We're champions. Florida State, 13-0, 16-6 over the Louisville Cardinals.
We did it, man. We did it.
Defense in a game where passing was not there.
No, nobody's throwing the ball.
50 yards from Brock Glenn, the true freshman walk-on. And yet you still win this game by 10 points.
He's actually a scholarship player.
Yeah.
Though he played like a walk-on.
Yes.
At times.
Did I say he was a walk-on?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You did.
I did.
You did.
He did. He did play like he was a walk-on at times. But Florida State caps off a championship season.
13-0, baby.
They did it for 13.
Yeah,
13-0. And they locked up a spot in the playoff, right? Right?
I mean, if this was a legitimate sport, you god dang right.
Oh, my God. I don't even want to go there. We need to celebrate this
Not tonight.
championship.
Not going there tonight.
It's a double championship in Tallahassee as the Rattlers
City of champs, man.
with a 35-14 win over Prairie View A&M 2 in a game that was delayed a couple times.
Yeah, they played in
the
the
SWAC
monsoon
champions.
here in the
So the SWAC and the ACC champions reside right here in Tallahassee.
combined record of 25-1. Man, that's some dominance. Nowhere else in America.
13-0 for the
Ladies and
Noles.
gentlemen.
13-0.
12-1 SWAC champs for
Man, what
Florida
an effort by the defense.
Oh man, yeah.
Right? I mean,
Right?
goodness
Yeah, you're
gracious. What an effort by the defense.
They picked the best game to play their best game.
Oh my gosh. This is not a bad Louisville team. This team has playmakers. This team can run the ball. They can move the ball.
No, they
And they just answered every single call.
yeah.
Every single one. Flying colors.
Put in some really tough spots too. I mean that interception in the end zone
right after the punt block.
Yeah.
Just every time you think, oh, well, there's no more. They can't withstand anymore. They're not getting anything from the quarterback position. I mean anything. But you know what? He luckily didn't turn it over. He tried to a couple of times.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, man. Some of the decisions were just that's why he's a true freshman.
Right. I mean, there was some easy looks, I thought. I look back at it, and there was some throw. He was afraid to pull the trigger on some easy throws I thought he had. But
that's what you worry about.
The big drive came when they went to the Wildcat, which I was asking them to just stay with it for the rest of the half.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
I mean, you're not going to go negative, and you're not going to give anything up with the way this defense was playing.
Yeah,
it's another wrinkle. Toa Philly was running it really good. I mean, he was letting those blocks line up, and bam, he hit the hole. That drive, that one run was so huge.
Yeah, that sequence, those two plays, he won the MVP because of that.
Right.
He had a few nice little runs there in the fourth quarter that were huge. They flipped field position, got us in field position for a field goal. You're right. You're right. But outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot. Trey Benson started cooking a little bit there in the fourth.
Yeah.
But that was it, man. You weren't going to get anything from the
in the Big Ten. This would be a gritty.
Yeah. It's amazing how the narrative is it's just regional and really production based, man. Like, you look at the SEC, you look at the Big Ten, and they got an entire network behind them.
Well, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we will.
But the ACC champs for Florida State, and
that's right.
I can't say enough about the defense performance. When your quarterback goes 8 of 21 for 55 yards, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
he had one good run that got called back for a holding, and he didn't do anything on the ground.
No, he didn't get you much
sacked
on the ground. Got sacked.
But he didn't turn the ball
times.
over. Toafili, 10 carries, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Trey Benson, 18 carries, 67 yards. It looked like he almost broke one there at the end.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman, 4 catches, 19 yards. Johnny Will. I mean, just to eliminate your passing game and still win.
I will say he had some drops.
Yeah, there was another drop by Keon. That
Yeah.
was a big drop.
You can see why he was a recruit. Why?
Yeah, I mean, he's
got
still
an arm.
Yeah, and you can see.
This was the danger with starting a true freshman. You know, a guy that's never started a football game at college level before.
Right.
They kept throwing the ball at times when it was just clearly not going to work. And I get it. You want to, when you're in the first quarter, you don't want to immediately go to one-dimensional. Even though you're right, man, it really looked like that. Why not? Defense is playing where you're going to shut them down. Let's just.
I like the way just mano get an extra blocker in there. Maybe see some more wrinkles there, but just an absolute gutty performance by that defensive line and Brandon Fiske and Jared Verse. Those two guys.
Really, Pat
Payton as well. Yeah,
stepped up. I mean, Farmer.
The defensive line's been just.
Farmer
amazing.
was right there. They are
linebackers.
They're going to get Daryl Jackson. Added to him. So
right.
that's
the point
huge.
right there. So you're going to take into effect the injury of quarterback. What about the addition at what it is already a championship level defense?
Yeah, you're getting another 6'6", 330-pound interior guy that just already to that rotation of guys that are going to play on Sunday. I mean, he's another one.
Right. FAMU was victorious today. SWAC championship. Snake Bit, FAMU contributor Al was at the game. Was in the locker room with the team. We have some more footage and stuff, so keep it locked for that. But Florida State, 16-6. I mean, how impressed were you by this defense? I mean, every level played lights out.
Yeah, linebackers, Deloach. Deloach has been doing it all season.
Yeah.
Bethune really as well, and all, really your starting play. Three. But yeah, man, the entire defense. Green, you saw a lot less of the
corner.
Yeah, Renardo Green.
Man, he's been awesome all year. Just
and even Thomas, man. Thrash shook him nasty one time, but that was it.
Right.
They did not.
They didn't let him. That's the big play guy.
Yeah, and you could tell.
That one
just
slant
the
route
whole game that Jack Plummer was
Renardo Green made the play.
Yeah,
and they had that slant because he made a good move. He just made it. That was an NFL play.
Yep.
Man, what a game!
It was an elite performance by the defense.
All right, so let's go
from Adam Fuller on really down to
It really was.
Shaheem on that one run play took a bad angle. Other than that, I don't think they would have. It was
so impressive.
Yeah.
To have that drive. I think they should have ran more of it. And I know you can't assume that you want to have confidence in your guy. I'm sure they saw a lot better in practice of what he could do, but man.
Yeah, and I'm sure they figured after running the Wildcat and scoring that it would take a little bit of
screenplay at the end there. I don't know about that. I just thought
you
make them show you that they can stop it.
Yeah,
and they should have ran it a little more, knowing that, hey, we're not really going to get anything in the passing game, so let's just get an extra blocker, maybe throw that out a couple times. But that's just nitpicking.
Yeah,
I mean, when you won with a true freshman quarterback who's not going to be playing. Tate Rodemaker is going to be back in there.
That's the thing that. But father, you got to remember. Like, he was not supposed to start until all of a sudden Sunday, Rosenberger shows up with.
You're going in.
So he'll be going back in the playoff. Mike Norvell will be quick to look down and let him know.
The next game, Florida State.
Warm up. You're going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, based on the Florida game you saw and you want to, the backup, that just shows you the backup quarterback popularity. It's always like, oh, this next guy, he's going to debut and he's going to be the start of this new dynasty and he's going to be, have this
exactly
magic
now
start. But
you look
then you
back
realize.
and imagine Brock Lynn actually starting down there in the swamp. Like,
right.
It would have been a nightmare.
How important that position is, but how gritty this team is, and it shows you how important how another side of the ball can step up.
Yeah, I mean,
the defense played lockdown.
Every single player on that defense just told, we're not losing to Louisville.
They got him that drive, and they got him that running touchdown. That was enough.
Yeah.
What a performance!
It's back-to-back.
What do you do?
Back-to-back games where the defense has just, verse especially, where he's just taken over, throwing offensive linemen into the quarterback.
Right.
It's just.
You play to win the game. You play to win the game. What do you keep score for?
That's what I'm saying.
Other teams had games in the season they lost. You have 3 teams right now that are undefeated.
Who wants to face this defense in the
That's
playoff?
right.
I hear a lot of talk. Yeah, you're right, man.
Michigan,
everybody talking about
Washington, Florida State. Let's get there.
Yeah, let's get there.
Those are your 3 undefeated teams.
You rank them 1, 2, 3.
1,
and then
2, 3. That's it.
You decide which team's going to be put at number 4. Man.
Well, you know what? We're using that eye test and all that other stuff when the win-loss record is equal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what are we freaking doing?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to go back to let's go back to the football, like you don't go to the Super Bowl or you go to the playoffs or say when Jeff Hostetler leads the Giants to a Super Bowl, but the Bills had the number 1 offense in the league and they missed a field goal. Well, if we were going to give out the championship, Buffalo controlled the game and no.
They had the best team.
No,
right?
you play, you win the game.
They looked and
you cannot deny a chance to this team, this defense, this coaching staff. They deserve it.
Yeah,
and I think with the way this defense is playing,
I think that
they are one of the 4 best.
Yeah,
teams.
your boy Booger had it right, man. Like, there's a lot of emphasis put on how you look today, and instead of how you've looked all season.
Right. It should be how you looked all season.
Yeah.
And it should matter.
Well, and the thing
when you lose a game.
The eyeball test told you that Oregon was going to crush Washington.
Right.
Right? They've been crushing everybody. Washington's been skating by, just flirting with disaster.
The eyeball test.
And it's not like they had 2, 3, a month to get ready to play Oregon. It was, all right.
So the committee will we'll see if there's corporate influence, which the SEC, they can't leave them out. Well,
yeah, the cynic in me thinks obviously there's going to be some.
If this was like a qualifying event, where things were valued like wins and losses, they shouldn't go in.
That's what I'm saying.
Because if you have 3 undefeated teams, now the debate is Texas, Alabama. You're arguing over 1 spot.
Yeah, you're arguing over 1 spot.
They're including Florida State.
Does the head-to-head
into this without including Washington or Michigan? What makes them?
Well, because their quarterback's still there.
That's true.
That's it. That's the only reason.
But they had 2 games and they won both of them.
Right.
But they covered the spread in both of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're not looking at Michigan or Washington and questioning them because they're their star player or Michael Penix isn't hurt and whoever.
In Ohio State when they did it, they had a loss, by the way.
Yeah, that's the thing. People, that's revisionist history.
This is all new.
They were taking Ohio State and comparing them to Baylor and TCU, who also had a loss. It was for that 4th spot.
Right. There's something about going undefeated.
Yeah,
and I don't want to hear that they played 2 out of conference games against the SEC. The SEC and the ACC this year, and the ACC was better.
Yeah,
in head to head.
Yeah.
So this SEC narrative is something that's been developed over accumulation of years. If you look at it for just this year, Big 12 beat them
Right.
Texas and
funny,
Alabama
man.
played this season.
Do you leave?
They played this season.
Do you leave Nick Saban out of the playoffs? You know,
Well, he's not a. Yes.
that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. Like, are they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
If this sport has any legitimacy left, then yes,
You have to. If you don't, unless you head to head doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if and that's
we're winning games.
that's the
and
thing. And
conference
for me, if
championships
head to head's
don't
not
matter.
not going to matter, then
Michigan conference championship
Going
undefeated.
undefeated
Washington
isn't-
conference championship undefeated. Florida State conference championship undefeated.
playoff.
Nobody
playoff,
else
playoff.
can match that.
Yeah.
So, but like if they're the best, what the fuck are we doing with this best shit?
Well, it's
Like, well, I could.
it's how you look when you're playing games against
you
teams
still-
that
yeah.
aren't, you know. And I get it, man. Alabama winning and beat
It was-
Georgia.
it
That's
was
why I
huge.
understand it's going to be really hard to leave.
Well, that was a
Alabama
huge
out.
win. I mean, Kirby Smart's telling you that you shouldn't leave Georgia out. Of course, that's what they're going to say.
Yeah,
And if you look, we're not asking. Well, then let's just go to the scouts. Then I love it. Let's just get in a beauty pageant.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
put on our shorts
Yeah.
and let's see who's got the strongest players. Let's flex and see who has most bench press, and let's take out all the fun and what makes this sport great.
exactly.
It's just sometimes, you know what? It comes down to that.
You got to play the game.
You got to play the game and tell that to, what is it? 03 Auburn, were they undefeated?
Yeah,
They didn't. Nobody remembers them.
nobody.
Nobody. So don't give me that. And if they would have had a playoff, then they would have been in. So like this is why you have a playoff. So because there's 3 undefeated teams here, right? What if there was only a national championship?
Exactly.
You would have an undefeated team being left out.
You'd have Florida State
They're being
sitting on
left
the
out. They
outside.
would already, yeah.
It
But
would.
because of a quarterback.
Yep.
And that's not
We got to play
not-
up
you-
like that. That's the thing. Like we
play
had
to win the game.
Yeah.
You
That's
play
why you
to win.
made
You
the
keep
playoff.
score,
It's
and
like,
I'm all for like using the comparisons when it's equal. But you're set forth the schedule, which you played in, which is legitimate compared to anybody else. Look how many bowl teams the ACC put out this year.
Yeah.
I mean, look what they did head to head. It's just looking at it and like the matchup was so sexy of Alabama and
Yeah.
Georgia and
Yeah.
what they are and recruiting and what they get. But you know what? They played in a game and the team that had already lost won.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks for the SEC. Sucks for Georgia.
We'll find out I just don't know how.
But I mean, that can happen, man. Sometimes you don't do enough in the regular season other than just, allow yourself to have the opportunity in the title game. And then you lost to Alabama.
Beauty
so now you got
contest.
to play in the Orange Bowl.
Then it is a beauty contest.
Yeah.
If Florida State doesn't make it, it's a beauty contest. It's not a sport. It's not football anymore.
Yeah.
The sport is great because there's stories that you don't expect because the Goliaths don't make it all the time. Because the stone hit. Like
What I'm saying is
this team answered the bell all year.
What if
Doesn't matter how it looks.
What if they had just put out there that Jordan Travis was going to be back for
Right.
the playoff?
Right.
Would that have what
It's not going to change what some people say because they're just going to always push it. Like that.
no, but that's what I'm saying. Like why? I don't know.
It's a year too late. With a
Yeah.
12-team playoff, couldn't come at a worse time for the SEC.
Yep.
They needed it this year.
I think they need to
They
just.
needed Texas in there.
It's time for you guys to just sit this one out, man.
Because look at it. All right, so if Texas was in the SEC this year and it was up to those two, it wouldn't be anything. They would just be like, all right, just put Texas in.
Well, it wouldn't.
They would have played again.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
Wouldn't have happened because they would.
One of them wouldn't have had the opportunity.
Right.
To play for
Alabama
the title.
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
they would have
Like-
never had a chance. And let's go
For
back.
me- for me,
let's go
that's
back to
how
the
I look.
Auburn game last week.
Yeah, that's how I
When
look
you're
at
down to a 4th and 31, they deserved it. There's no fluke. There's no fluke there. It's Auburn, and it's tough. And I know it is, but
it. That kind of Imagine
Florida State never came down to that type of game.
Yeah, and they didn't even have their quarterback.
Right.
Starting
They didn't even
quarterback.
have their starting
They're still
quarterback. They're
winning
getting their
games.
second string quarterback. They'll have that guy back. So this best and subjective of who you want to do is bull crap.
Yep.
You play to win the game, and when you're
I
lining
agree.
it up, there's 3 undefeated teams. the argument is for one. If you want to put Alabama over Texas, I don't know what you're going to tell Texas head to head, you know. But it's even more egregious to have an undefeated team who doesn't have a loss get jumped by a team that has a loss.
Yeah, and let's look at it like that. I mean, Texas and Alabama are very soon, next year they're going to be in the same conference.
Right.
So, let's just look at it. If you had to pick between the two, like who's going to play Georgia, let's say they were in the same conference this year, you'd have to choose between one of them who's going to go and play Georgia in the title game.
Right.
It would come down to Texas. So that should be what you do for the playoff.
Right.
Texas would have had them head-to-head if they were in the same conference.
Someone's going to be upset.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel like right now that Florida State's just like cheering.
Who do you think you are? I am.
I mean, come on. We just won.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are? Minnie, I am undefeated. I am the champion of the ACC. It's funny. Clemson would have never. If it was Clemson,
Oh God, no.
if they were undefeated, they'd be a shoo-in, right? Let's just I don't know. It's not even worth getting.
I mean, they'd have Dabo would have been on TV a lot more politics.
Yeah, and they would have had to win for another. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Mike Norvell was asked, and he said the right thing. He didn't say anything about it until the end of the game.
He did, but
and he answered. He's like, "This team's undefeated. Those other teams lost. Boom, out of here."
Exactly. He's not a clown show like Dabo is.
There's coaches on the committee that can not let the rankings come out without an undefeated team. It's never happened before. You can't do this. We're going to 12 next year.
Yeah, I hate it for you, Nick, but
this will go on. This will be the big offseason story going into the new year. Finally, we have a system that's going to keep, give everyone a chance. But you had your chance this year. It just never had a year where there were so many undefeated teams. So we're going to punish an undefeated team now because they didn't pass our eye test. They didn't look good enough in the dress or whatever. Then what are we doing here? Let's run down the runway and let's make it what it is. It's just a freaking beauty pageant.
Who do you think you are? I am.
This ain't no beauty pageant. This is compete.
Yeah.
Compete.
Right.
What the hell are we doing out there?
Right.
It's great, man. If you guys want, if we had a loss, then I would,
What do you think's going to happen?
Me?
Yeah.
We'll probably end up getting screwed, man.
I'm not surprised that you say that.
But I don't care right now.
I know.
It's just
this is a championship.
I think the sport in and of itself has just moved into a different
commercial.
Yeah, it's all media. They don't want Florida State in because
the matchup
for some reason.
Yeah. I really think it's just because JT's out.
Yeah.
Jordan Travis is in. They can push that. He'd be in New York. They would be able to have ratings.
Sure,
but it doesn't matter.
There's a whole lot of defensive
Florida State's
players
still
they got that they can.
Jared Verse.
Yeah.
Fiske.
That defense,
Farmer.
man. Plenty. That whole secondary. Plenty
Ray.
Of,
Green. Renardo Green. Dent. Hakeem Dent. All playing just great games.
Yeah. I mean, dude,
teamwork.
That's a high-powered
special teams
passing attack. Brian Brom is one
gets
of
the punt blocked right there, and the defense comes out and gets the interception.
That's what I'm saying. How many defenses in the country? There's 2, 3. You think Alabama, Georgia?
7 sacks.
7 sacks.
7 sacks when you had to have it. Come on now. What are we doing here? Playing to win the game.
Yeah.
Come on. You play to win the game.
Yeah, you play to win the game.
What are we doing?
Play to win the game.
So what is your top 4?
Well, I just want to point out that that's another quarterback that the Florida State defense held under 50%.
Dude, number one defense in terms of quarterback.
Yep.
Percentage.
I don't know how many straight weeks that is that they've held a guy under 40 or under 50%, but
it just looked heroic. The defensive effort, it looked
their running game 2.3 yards a carry.
Right.
That's what they hung their hat
Louisville's a good team. They averaged 33 points a game throughout the season.
Jawar Jordan was the first team
all ACC running back.
Held him to a career low 3.7 yards.
Okay.
That
This is they're just picking and choosing because the quarterback's such a polarizing position. But you saw how a team can unite and step up. And this defense has done nothing but that. Just took it to another level.
Yeah,
they really have. Fitzgerald missed one, but he hit a clutch field goal as well.
Yeah, he hit the two that.
Good
that
season
really
for
needed.
Fitzgerald, man. Good comeback season for him.
Yeah.
There was, because he was an Achilles heel at one point. You would look at him because he was so inconsistent. But he was consistent this year. Good season.
All
for
season,
Ryan
he really
Fitzgerald.
was. It was, that was a huge question mark.
Right.
Going into the season, or
Especially
going into
those
the
mid-range field goals. He would struggle with those, and he hit that 33-yarder at the end, which was
Oh, it was so nice watching it go through.
Yeah, it really was.
Just
So
that
you're-
defensive performance, it goes up there with some of the glory years. So to speak. Teams that did win national titles,
right?
That was
this
just
defense
insane.
is as good as any in the country.
It is. They played poor at times, but there was a lot of rotation going on all season. Guys getting snaps, different. You put the starting 11 out there,
right?
And it's good luck, man.
All right,
we had to go.
we got to get on out of here, but we got.
I'll tell you what, I can't believe dude. I did not see Alabama beating Georgia like that.
No, they controlled the game.
Yeah,
and credit to Alabama, they were the last team to beat Georgia. 29 can't get over 29. The last two teams to get to 29 lost.
That's why he's the best, man. He's but he probably should have beat Texas at home, Nick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what?
Yeah.
You're gonna politic for your team, but any coach was gonna tell you that. I mean,
yeah, and I didn't think that Georgia could lose the game and possibly lose a spot, but I really do think now that you can't put them in.
You can't.
You can't.
The SEC's gonna get one, if none. They might get, and if they get one, there's gonna be a huge argument about Texas beat them, and they're gonna get left out, or God forbid, Florida State gets let out.
Yeah,
and then that's gonna be ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's gonna be a lot of angry people. But whatever, ACC champs, 13-0. That's never going to be taken away.
No, you got a trophy, you got a ring.
Got a ring.
A school that has been, the program's been looking for that for a long time.
Right. So your top four, if there's sane committee, Michigan 1, Washington 2, Florida State 3, and Texas 4.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think that's what you should roll with.
That's your top four. I picked Texas, Washington, and Florida State in the preseason.
Yeah.
So the only Georgia let me down. If they would have
Georgia, yeah.
I didn't get Michigan either, but I think Texas is your 4 seed.
Yeah, I think that's how it should
Michigan.
work if everything is.
And then you got Washington versus Florida State in the Sugar Bowl, baby.
In the Sugar Bowl.
But if it's anything other than that, then it's just.
And it will be, man.
It's going to be politics and
politics. We want
involved.
We want to be able to sell it. We want to, like Booger said, it's who do we want to see the most? Who do we want to see play? Nobody wants to watch.
We'll all be watching.
Play.
We'll all be watching they'll do the selection tomorrow afternoon, and we'll react to it. And we'll talk to you then, right here on the North Florida Sports Network.
We had to go. Our ride was here. We got a shuttle